The fungal infection spore got a bunch of new update, and today we're gonna go over everything that it adds, starting with the structure, and we have a few new variant of church. This, I think, was the ancient variant, and now we have a smaller variant here, and a birch variant over here. But Spore now adds also another structure called a hospital, and this is a massive structure containing bile. We'll see that later. Each room will contain some armor, some weapons, some arrows. It's gonna be infested with mobs. Most of them will step in that and die, but there's a chance that you will encounter a new mob found only on the structure called a lacerator. This mob have a chainsaw and attack twice as fast as the iframe of the game. Inside the structure, you can also find some of the new blocks that we will talk later. And the mod also adds another brand new structure, the cathedral. But this one has a few secrets that we're gonna go see. First of all, if you go behind the structure, there's a pathway to go down. There's gonna be a final room here with a hidden lever that is hidden right here. There we go. It's gonna open a door to another room with a gold block. It's gonna contain a few chests with a bunch of body pieces inside, but if you think this is over, you can throw any item into this toilet here, and it's gonna open a path below. Watch out, there's a trap right here that's gonna shoot some poison arrow. And into here, you can find some more loot inside with a book with some stuff written in it. And before I show you all the new mobs and the new features of the game, including a new calamity mob, we are going to infect this area. So let's go. Right, so the area is infected enough. We have a whole sphere of biomass. So let's take a look at the new mobs that are introduced in these previous versions. First of all, the Husk received two new evolutions. The Vertithorn, which is basically a mob that has a lot of thorn damage. So if you hit this guy, you will take damage. Ow, 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 let's step that here. And the Jagged Hund, which will dig underground like that and stalk the player and other mobs it wants to kill. There's three new organoids. One of them is called the Brewery. This one has been out for a while, but I haven't really explained it. It gives buff to all allies around itself, but can also give debuff to the player. And look at that. It is going to brew some potion, and depending on the color you see inside this basin, it's gonna give some different effect. There we go. It's gonna change. Another one of the organoids is the Verwahung, or something like that. It is basically a support unit that will just spawn and summon an evolved mob on its place. So here we have a Breomil that is really buffed by the Brewery. And the last organoids we have the Delusioner. It is basically an illusioner pieced together into a single mob. It has 4 different attacks. It can summon illusions, summon arrows, mass teleport, or go invisible. There is 2 new hyper evolved. This one, evolved from the Knight, is the Inquisitor. It does a whopping 20 damage per hit, and it gains 0.5 damage per kill it does, up to a maximum of 30 damage per hit. And he's gone. Oh yeah, by the way, hyper evolve can now destroy biomass to convert it into membranes so they can go through. Also, the lower its health, is gonna gain more and more armor, just like that. And the more I hit this guy, the less damage I'm doing. And then we have the Burokatse. This one is evolved from the Bryomil. It has a gas attack and a leap to attack its opponent. Oh my god, I'm stuck in something. The Wendigo now has the ability to rip your armor off. So let's say we go in survival mode, we have some Ignitium armor, and now we don't have Ignitium armor. Seems a bit unfair, but anyway. The Gasjebber is basically a mound on feet. It's a non-combatant mob. It's gonna search a place to root itself and infect the lands around it. Like right now, it has rooted itself, as you can see with the roots here, and it's gonna convert the land just like that. The Infected Wanderer has a 30% chance to evolve into a Spectre, and this thing does a lot of stuff. It can break torches, just like that. And it just stole almost all of the food of this chest too. Holy crap. It can break blocks, break TNT, CDUs, it can climb blocks, and also swim. That's a crazy monster. And now here comes the most dangerous mob of this update. The Howitzer. This thing counts as an air support or a ground support, and it is basically a walking artillery. It can shoot 4 different types of attack: a normal explosive, a bile explosive, a fire, and a corrosive one. If the enemy is weak to corrosion like a golem, it's gonna shoot a corrosive explosive, just like this one. It's green. If there's flammable block, it's gonna shoot the fire one. And now, here comes the most important part of the Howitzer, the bile. Some explosive have bile in it, but also, as you can see here, this is an extra pocket of bile. The howitzer can generate some, and the proto-hive mind can generate some. We also saw some earlier in the hospital, but basically the bile will give you blindness, weakness, slowness, and mining fatigue. So it is an extremely dangerous liquid to step in. It will also do a small amount of damage, but also delete your item, as it's literally like gastric acid. Now, let's talk about variant. A bunch of mod got some new variant. Like here, this virus has the stinger variant, which means it's gonna shoot some stinger at me, ow, and it's poisonous. The Seizure has a new variant called the Warthorn Seizure. This one has a 30% damage reduction. There's also the Overclocked Hindenburg, and this one, it produces biomass. It shoots twice as much bomb and sets creatures on fire because of all the heat it generates. Some of them got the new variant called Bile or Corrosive, and it just basically means that you will get the effect of bile or corrosion when you get hit by these mobs. And lastly, the Vigil have a new variant called the Stalker Vigil. And I think it's this one with its like antennas here, and it will basically always run away from you. You will never reach it unless I just like spend from creative to survival here, but it will always stalk you, respawning somewhere within range, and every time you try to reach it, it's gonna run away. Alright, we're now done with the mobs. Let's look at a new mechanic that has been added to the fungal infection spore. And the first thing we'll talk about is the madness. Madness is gained when you are near a proto-hive mind. Just staying near the proto-hive mind will give you madness 1, like right here, but as soon as you are getting hit by mobs, your madness will increase in time and eventually in levels. Starting at level 1, you will only hear voices and sounds, but as you reach level 2, you will be watched all the time. And when you reach madness 3, like right now, I should start to see some hallucination, like right there. This mob is not a real one. I can punch it and it's gonna vanish. Like this thing. There we go. They can hurt you though, so beware. Is that an illusion? That's not illusion, eh? Now there's a massive late game modifier that will happen to your world if you don't kill your proto-hive mind. If your world reach 3 proto-hive mind, like right now, I just placed them myself, so that doesn't really count, but your world will enter its proto-world modifier. What does it mean? A lot of things. First of all, every mob that spawned will be linked to a proto-hive mind, which means their AI will be increased and they can see you through walls. While the proto-world modifier is active, all infective that can evolve has a 30% chance to instantly evolve as soon as they spawn. And evolved mob that have a hyper evolve farm now have a 30% chance to evolve into their hyper evolution. Mobs that have tools will now have their tools enchanted. Calamities will now spawn with their adaptation. That's what we saw earlier with the Seizure and the Hindenburg, but also the Gas and Breacher. Alright, so that was the proto-world modifier, but there's a few more mechanics that we're gonna talk about. First of all, as we saw earlier, some of the hyper-evolve can destroy the biomass to convert it into membrane. The Calamity and Organoid are immune to debuff if the debuff is weaker than level 2, so they won't get the wither effect if it's below level 2, etc., poison, blah 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 blah. Calamity can root when idle and under 30% to regenerate their health, and mounds will put those biomass bulb for the infected that are starving. You can also break them for biomass. If you see these tower of fungus, there's a good chance that you are being watched, because inside of them you will find these outpost watcher. This is a block, it is not a mob, so you can actually destroy it. But what these guys will do is, if you are being watched, they will summon scent right on you. The scent is the clouds you see here. When you hurt some mob, they sometimes will make scent like that will spawn some other infected. So these things inside their tower can literally spawn scent on you, spawning mobs on you. Now, when a tree or some bushes are converted into mycelium, there's a chance that they will leave some decayed bushes or decayed branches. In my opinion, this looks really good and add more like life or texture to the woods instead of just having like Herobrine pole. Now let's look at the human-made machine. First of all, we all know about the CDU, but it works a bit differently now. To make it work, you need ice canister that can be crafted with iron nuggets and a blue ice. So all you need to do is right-click the machine and it will start to produce the snow effect to kill the spore. Then we have the incubator. This is a new block that is a bit harder to craft. You need a BCU crafted with compound plates. To make compound plates, all you need to do is smell compound. But how you make compound? With amethyst dust and sugar. How do you make amethyst dust? With amethyst shard, of course. So once you do that, you need 3 redstone, 3 iron ingot, and 2 circuit board that is, again, made with compound plate and redstone parts. This thing will help prepare your living items. To make it work, you need some biomass. It can go up to 4, and all you need to do is right-click with your item, and it's gonna repair inside the vat. And here we go, our repair is fully repaired. The Zoaholic is a complicated item. To make it work, you need a cerebrum, mutated hearts, and 2 innards with a bunch of biomass. And when you right-click the machine with all of that, there we go, the machine will start to activate, and when you right-click it, it's gonna print. Oh my god, what the heck? It's gonna print. Oh my god, I was just so close. Okay, it's gonna print some location of an anomaly, and this one, the anomaly has found me. Okay, so that is creepy. Okay, well, it's gonna point to an anomaly, and since this one was too close, why are you here? You're supposed to be there. It's gonna normally point to the coordinates of either a calamity mob or a proto hive mind. What is bro doing? Anyway, let's print another one now that this guy is gone. And we now have anomaly detected at minus 1492, 1184. So let's go to these locations. And 1184, we are above the proto hive minds. There's also a 20% chance that the Zoaholic will fail, revealing its position to the anomaly it found. This might be why the howitzer was here. I'm not sure. Now, let's go over some of the new items. There is 3 new reagent. Reagent are like enchantment for your living items. I haven't really covered that before, so we're gonna go over all of them. First of all, there's the normal symbiotic reagent, and this one will give you the properties of symbiotic reconstruction. This just means that it will repair your armor or your weapon you put it on, like this sword here. If we right-click on it, it's gonna automatically repair this sword at the cost of your hunger. Now, to make a reagent, you need a living core, 3 mutated fiber, a mutated heart, and some nerves, so you gotta go kill to get those things. Now, the cryogenic reagent is crafted with 2 ice canister and a bunch of freeze-burn biomass. This is exactly what we have here. Freeze-burn biomass is when some of the stuff is converted to ice with the CDU. And when applied to your weapon, it will freeze the target you touch, giving you extra bonus against the spore. The gastric reagent will make your weapon deal gastric effect, effectively blinding, slowing, mining fatigue, and weaken your enemy. And finally, the corrosive reagent will do exactly that. It will add the corrosive effect to your weapon. But as you can see, we have 1 curse, the unwavering nature. There's a chance that when applying a reagent, you get a curse. And the unwavering nature makes your weapon or your armor deal mycelium infection when you hit or get hit by your enemies. So if we hit with this one, and he dies, he will turn into an infected, so you're basically spreading the infection. And lastly, we have the mutagenic reactant. This one has a chance to insta-evolve. Oh my god, there's a chance to insta-evolve one infected with it, so it's not good if you're fighting infected with this weapon. There's a few small changes, like for example, infected mobs will never spawn in vanilla structure, and the Eye of the Vigil can now locate up to 128 blocks instead of the original 32. There's also many bug fixes and performance fixes, but I'm not gonna talk about that. So I hope you enjoyed the showcase. If you want to know more about the previous version, you can go watch my other videos about the mod. I cover everything about the Sieger, the Hindenburg, and the Gazan Breacher. So make sure you like and subscribe. I have a Discord if you want to come hang out. The link is in the description. And as always, you're awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.